Today we continue with our class Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and we start with Sefer Chaim, and the topic is the laws of Rechilus. And today's topic is repentance. So it says, one who has either spoken Rechilus, listened to someone else spoke Rechilus, or believe a statement that is classed as Rechilus, must engage in Teshuvah process appropriate for his transgression. One who spoke Rechilus should preferably approach anyone who was present when he made this statement and explain that it was inaccurate. Otherwise, he must approach the subject of his remark and beg forgiveness for having spoken Rechilus concerning him. So as we see from this, it's like to do Teshuvah after speaking badly about someone else, it's not such an easy thing. Right, so it says, if, for example, if it was only a small group of people, okay, maybe 2-3 people, okay, so go to all of them and say, whatever I said about that person, not true. Okay, I didn't think about it, I misunderstood the facts, this and that, okay, so you have to, and plus, he says, otherwise, you have to go to that person and ask him forgiveness. But just to add to what we were saying here, what the author is saying, if that person suffer harm, be it physical, monetary, or psychological harm, doesn't matter. So we have to approach that person and ask him forgiveness. Not such an easy thing to do, to fix, to undo whatever we did with our speech. One who listened to the Rechilus need not ask forgiveness of a person spoken about, even if he had believed the statement. However, if he had believed the statement, he must convince himself that the information may have been totally inaccurate and taken out of the context. So I guess the easiest part is of a person, the easiest Teshuvah, I guess, right? Would be more correct to say, of the person who listened and believed. So, of course, I mean, he does not have to go to the person about whom this Lashon Hara was says or Rechilus was says that, somebody said something about you and I believed it. That would sound a little, but not normal, right? So we don't do that. So, but at least you have to take this information out of your mind and convince yourself that it's not true. Is it easy to do? Absolutely not. It's not, it's easy to sound, okay, so it's not true, no. So because, why is that? Because it's going to stand and stay on the back of your mind. And when sometimes, like a year from now, or 5 years, 10 years from now, it's going to come out on the background and you say, yeah, I always suspected that this person, this, that, and that. That's the issue. In all of the above situation, one must confess before HaShem for having violated the Torah commandments, express regret for what he did, and resolve to avoid a repetition of his misdeeds. So, when somebody offended somebody else, there are two parts, right? Two parts of Teshuvah. So one part of the Teshuvah is in fixing the situation with you and that person, right? It's one thing. And another is between you and HaShem, because HaShem told us, don't do it. As we learned before, all of these verses from the Torah, when in the Talmud, when HaShem said, don't do it. And guess what? We did it anyway, so we have to ask HaShem forgiveness for what we did. For that we did not listen to him. Okay, so we stop here, and we continue with Kitzur Shulchan Aruch and start new subject. Very, very, very interesting subject. It's something close to what we're going to, or very close, I would say, to discuss on Thursdays. BeEzrat HaShem. Okay, so it's Siman 46. And the topic is laws of forbidden foods, and contain 46 seifim, so it's 46 paragraphs. So 46 halachas. Okay. So we start from introduction by the Kitzur. It's not by the Kitzur. I think it's from translators. So it says in this Siman Kitzur presents some of the laws of various dietary commandments. These include the prohibition against ingesting blood, as stated by Kashrus 7:26, the prohibition against mixture of meat and dairy, found in Shmos 23:19, prohibition against eating the meat of the animal that is treifa, that is that had one of the numerous specific mortal defects, as found in Shmos 22:30. The prohibition against eating vermin that infest foods, found in Vayikra in many places, 11:10, 20:23, 41, 44. Okay. We then proceed to discuss the various foods in which this infestation is common. So we actually saw it in when we were finishing up our class of halachas of brachas, and when we discussed some brachas on some fruits and vegetables. And in many of them, like in some of them, in the commentaries, so the author always put like he was not lazy. He always put like this and this vegetables must be checked, or fruit for infestation, right? For these bugs or other creatures. Okay. So one more time, let's summarize. So what is the problem with the issues? I would say the issues that we're going to discuss in the Kashrus. So the first one is the blood. So blood. So we're not allowed to eat blood, be it from animals or from poultry. Doesn't matter. Right, so that's already the answer to people that say, no, I eat only chicken. I don't eat pig, but I eat chicken. So this there's no difference between a pig and chicken if it's not kosher, right? So because why? It contains blood, and it was not slaughtered. That's according to Torah law, right? So blood is one subject. Second subject is meat and dairy. So we do not mix. So we're allowed to eat meat after dairy, right? But no mixture. The prohibition of eating treifa meat. So treifa meat. Treifa means we just discuss things in general, right? Treifa means that animal was sick, right? Sick. We're going to see the definition of being sick. So it would not survive 1 year. Okay, because of these internal diseases. It's not external. It's most of them internal. Not only disease, there's some wounds. Okay. And plus all of these bugs. We're not allowed to eat bugs. Okay. Continue. Kitzur includes in this Siman certain rabbinic laws pertaining to the kosher food that has been left in the hands of idolater, or that has been in a contact with a non-kosher food, and pertaining to trustworthiness of the non-observant Jew in regard to the Kashrus issues. These laws were instituted to ensure the kosher status of the food eaten by observant Jews. Okay, so let's do this piece again. As I said, we're going to discuss, I think, all of this in details in another book, but we're going to combine the information, right? So one more time. So another subject is a food, right? With a kosher food that has been left in the hands of idolater. So we mean a non-Jew, or has been in a contact with non-kosher food. So we're talking about the food that is not sealed. If the food sealed, there is no problem. You can have in a supermarket on the same shelf have like kosher food and non-kosher food. There is, such. Usually, like for example, if it's meat, usually they would have even a non-kosher supermarket that they will have like separate refrigerator. Maybe it's smaller, maybe it's one section of the refrigerator. Usually, even like it's frozen, it's completely packed. They still do not mix. Okay, it's not sure, but if it's packaged food, whatever, for example, kosher milk and non-kosher milk, they can sit next to each other and on a shelf in the refrigerator. There is no problem whatsoever, right? So we're talking about open food, right? Or there is no package, like kosher meat, right? So can we rely on a non-Jew that he's not going to substitute for non-kosher food, right? And also, if we allow to trust a non-observant Jew. So a non-observant Jew, in many regards, we treat him, not treat him, but he's in category, halakhic category of idolater, right? And we're going to see in some cases, yeah, we treat him like an idolater, we don't trust him. But in many cases, no, since he's a Jew, unless we know that he's so wicked that he does it like dafka to do something wrong, okay? Then we treat him 100% like adultery. So it depends on the situation, what exactly we're talking about. Okay. And all of these laws, of course, all of these things are rabbinic. It's not biblical, but all of these laws were needed to protect, right, this observant Jew to make sure that he's eating only kosher. Okay, so it's very, very important things. In addition to the laws included in this Siman, Kitzur presents other aspects of dietary law through this Sefer. In Siman Torah 6, Kitzur outlines the required methods to ensure that meat does not contain any blood, as discuss aspects of prohibition against eating chalef, forbidden fats, and git hanasheh, the sciatic nerve. Okay, so let's stop here and understand. So now we just given out we present like roadmap or what we're going to learn. So in olden days, in older days, you go to you have to remember there were no refrigerators. So whatever meat you buy, you have to prepare today, or you have to put like a amount of salt and salt it, right? And that's it. So if it's for today or for tomorrow, right? Otherwise, most likely is not going to survive. Later on, they had ice boxes, right? So they would have some ice in this box, and like underground storage, they would able to preserve the food longer, but not much longer. Not much longer. So basically, what the butcher would do, he would slaughter, right? Shochet, butcher. Sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's not, right? Today is not. But in olden days, it was could be the same person, and he would not do all of these procedures with meat. So whatever you want to do, he would cut your meat. He makes sure that cow, let's say, is kosher. You go to his store. He's going to sell you meat, and you go and kosher it yourself. You understand? So today, some people ask me if they're going to buy non-kosher meat. They don't have access to the kosher meat, and if they can do this kosher procedure, if they buy right cow's meat, okay, of course it's not going to work. It's too late, right? First of all, it's too late with the blood, and second of all, since it was not killed properly, so the rest is irrelevant, basically. Okay, and then we're going to discuss the chalef. So what is the chalef? Is a forbidden fats that actually, when we had the Beis Hamikdash, and we're going to learn very soon in Chumash, that they burned on the altar. It's fats around internal organs. Right? And git hanasheh. Git hanasheh is a sciatic nerve. like on of the animal, right? So and I think it's left leg. I think are they like from the Torah, but since today we don't know left leg, right leg, and some community claim that they know how to cut it out this nerve, and so it's not only nerve, but nerve is a biblical prohibition, but rabbinic prohibition. All they added also the fats around this nerve. So, but after some time, Ashkenazic tradition, they lost it. The lost tradition how to cut it, and they decided to go to stringent view, stringently. So stringently, what meaning they Ashkenazim do not eat the rear part of the animal. So if you go to the butcher and you will say I want to buy the whole sheep, for example, I know usually it's not fine. Like they look big, but when they skinned and they clean, it's not much, right? So he's going to bring you only the front half. That's it. You understand? So that's the sciatic nerve. Okay, and then the Kitzur includes prohibition of eating hadash. So hadash is a new grain. Okay, we're going to discuss on that's the right of the Omer that we start in count from 16th of Nisan. So right after Pesach, from the second night of Pesach, we start counting Omer. But in olden days when we had the Beis Hamikdash, so we would bring this barley offering, right? And from this time on, so we were able to eat the flour or grain. That doesn't mean the flour, but mostly when we say 5 species of grain, we mean in the flour. That's the most used, but not necessarily, right? Of these 5 species that from the current year. So, but before that, you're not allowed. So today, of course, when you live in different countries, today many times they're going to offer you the fresh flour from this year, and you're not allowed to eat it. I mean, today we're going to discuss, since there are 2 doubts. So some poskim said yes, no problem. If you're in exile, not in the land of Israel, you're allowed. We're going to discuss all of these things. Okay. Continue. Additionally, exists a prohibition against eating non-kosher animals, birds and fowl. The prohibition against either min chachai, limb from a living creature. So okay, so different prohibition to right. So far we're discussing kosher animals, right? Only kosher animals, and what one problem we have with kosher animals. So now a different subject, totally different subject, totally different prohibition against eating non-kosher animals and birds. And I mean, it does not say here, but fish also. And, right? Okay. And then the different prohibition. So you're not allowed to eat from the living animal, right? It's seventh law of Noah, right? 6 were given to Adam, and 7th, not to eat from the living animal, was given to Noah. But of course, we also have to abide by this law. So before eating any permitted animal, so we have to slaughter and make sure that it's dead completely. Okay. Next one is prohibition against nevilah. There is a myth of the animal or bird that did not undergo the proper shchita, ritual slaughter. So nevilah, it's an animal that died by itself, or it died from the wounds, right? From all these things. So did not go through the shchita. Okay. So we are allowed to eat only animals and birds only when we kill them with proper procedure. Kitzur does not address this prohibition in this work. Okay. Okay, that's, I mean, the ritual law, the word Kitzur meaning like summary, to something shorter. If they're going to start discussing lots of slaughter, it's going to be too much. Okay, the Talmud in Yoma 39a relates that in addition to the prohibition involved in the consumption of non-kosher food, such as consumption leads to dullness of the heart. There is inability to attain one's spiritual potential. For this reason, Rema rules in Yorak Deya 81:7. So Rema is Ashkenazic authority, on the bottom of Shulchan Aruch. So first comes Rav Yosef Kar, and then Rema adds whatever he needs to add. That even every very young children should be stopped from eating non-kosher foods, and an infant should not nurse from a woman who must consume those foods due to illness. This was but one of indication of the significance that attached to these laws. So that's very strong statement, and our sages said many times in different works. Whoever eats non-kosher food, he cannot understand Torah. He cannot comprehend the deep Torah concept. This person, he or she, can be great in their job, in computer science, in the medicine, in the math, and other things, right? But in Torah, they're absolutely stupid. Spiritually, absolutely stupid. Right, and I know many people like that, and I told them first, okay, they asked question. I said, I can answer, but this answer would not make any sense to you. So unless you start eating kosher. So of course, for people, they start laughing. How is that? Where was the connection? So this chicken or that chicken, and they're going to start they see everywhere conspiracy. Like I have a commission from butchers. In a butcher store, I mean, they live in different city. I'm going to get commission from the butcher store. They're going to eat kosher. Okay, but that's what our sage said. There is a clear connection. So this consumption of non-kosher food leads to dullness of the heart. Right. So one more time, there is inability to attain spiritual potential. And Rema is saying, so technically. Right, children up to age, girls up to 12 and boys up to 13, they're not obligated in mitzvahs at all. Of course, Rabbi said that you have to train them in all of the mitzvahs since young age. There is an age of chinuch from which we're obligated to start training them. It depends on child's development, 5, 6, 7 years old. I mean, hopefully it's not 7. It's very, but okay, somebody is not so advanced. Okay, let's say 7. Okay, if so you have some children who more or less mature at 7, so you can explain them some concept. So okay, let's start at 7. At any age, you have to train them on all of the mitzvahs. They have to know all of these things. But they are not technically obligated. So if, for example, if they do not eat, if they eat non-kosher food, there is no punishment for them. So if I eat non-kosher food, chas v'shalom, so there is a punishment. Let's say there is no pikuach nefesh, there is no life risk, right? Just because, right? But for them there is no life risk. Right, and but the responsibility of the parents or whoever is supervising them, not to give them, right, this non-kosher food. Why? Right, because of this dullness of the heart, and even sometimes a woman who is nursing would be required to eat non-kosher food. There are some examples in the Talmud and later days, and today, you see, today we are blessed in some things and cursed in other things, but in one area we are blessed that there are pills that or IV that they can put on a person. So it's not so even in this IV, some things are going to be non-kosher, So it's not, and it's going to go into the blood. So it's not exactly food, but it's not exactly prohibited and this and that. I mean, it would be permitted, but still they say for her not to nurse a child, if it's possible, not to nurse a child, because it's going to affect his spiritual status, his spiritual level, even this a few months old baby. As we know, a story about Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu refused to nurse when this Basya fish him out from the Nile River, right? So, and she tried to find a wet nurse for him, and he did not want to nurse from all of the Egyptians, because they are idolaters. Okay, so and this his sister Miriam explained, no, he's going to eat only, to nurse only from a Jewess. Okay, should I get one? Okay, she said get one. Okay, so, and we have to be very careful, as we see, if it can affect a little baby who do not understand. So needless to say, it can affect in a bad ways adults, right? And I know some people, some of my students, as I said before, live in a very poor country. So for them, chicken, they can buy chicken, but maybe once a month. So economy is not so great. So they survive on vegetables. So it's it's very hard, but that's what they do. Baruch HaShem. Continue. It should be noted that the kosher dietary laws are many and varied, and clearly could not all be discussed comprehensively in this work, in the work of this nature. The prohibitions that Kitzur chose to discuss reflect the time and place in which the work was authored. In modern times, with complexity of the production of many processed food items, proper observance of dietary laws requires broad knowledge and rabbinic guidance. By no means can one consider himself to be keeping kosher if he limits the observance to the structure discussed in the Kitzur. So it's unbelievable insight. It's like in square brackets. So let's explain. So Kitzur was written, I think, if I remember correctly, in 1700s, or 17 or 1800s, in Hungary, in Europe, right? So Kitzur, since it was like very condensed work, right? So he had to give like only things that people do not know, right, and pertain to their time. Of course, we're going to go with modern commentaries, but it's only like some highlights of some subjects. So I'm going to add whatever need to be added, but still in depth we're going to learn this specific subject in our Thursday class, BeEzrat HaShem. I'm not sure if it's going to start from this Thursday, maybe from next Thursday. Okay, but anyway, so it's coming, BeEzrat HaShem. So halacha number 1, and it says the Torah in BeEzrat 7:26 forbids the blood of animal and birds. The prohibition has ramification in regard to other types of blood as well. Blood that is found in eggs is forbidden for consumption, and sometimes when blood is found in it, the entire egg is prohibited. Therefore, when preparing food with eggs, one should examine them to ensure that they are free of blood. Okay, that's the whole halacha, so let's stop here. We're going from the beginning and explain. So first issue is a blood, and of course not only blood that we find in the meat, but also the blood in eggs. So let's start. And we see the commentary. Blood is found in eggs is prohibited for consumption, and sometimes when blood is found in it, the entire egg is prohibited. So let's read the commentary, and then we're going to explain. This is due to the concern that the blood is indication of developed embryo. If the blood is in a yolk, the entire egg is prohibited. If the blood is in a white, there are various opinions as to when it suffices to remove the blood spot, and when the entire egg is prohibited. It is therefore customary to refrain from eating any egg in which the blood has been found. Rama. Okay, so before we continue, actually no, let's finish, and he actually he's going to say what I was about to say. Nowadays, most of the eggs are unfertilized and cannot produce embryo. Therefore, if one finds a blood in such eggs, technically he would be required only to discharge the blood, and then he would be permitted to consume the rest. Nevertheless, since an egg is inexpensive, the widespread custom is to act stringently and discard the entire egg. If, however, the egg was mixed with another egg into a batter, that egg should be removed to the extent possible, and the remainder of the mixture is permitted. Igras Moshe, or Chaim, part 3, chapter 61, Yoredaya 1, chapter 36. So let's try to understand. So first, so technically, the egg, blood could be found in two parts, right? One's in a white, right, and in the yolk, and one is in a white. So according to strict letter of the law, if it's in a yellow part, so you have to discard the whole egg, because it's already, it looks like it's an embryo. That's how it starts, right? But if it's in a white, so you can technically take it out. It's not a big deal, and then eat it. But since today, so now halacha depends on where you are. So if for you it's not a big deal to discard the egg, right? So that's what we do, and like we always discard the eggs. But if it's very expensive, for example, for, as I said about the students that I have, so for them, if it's in a white, so we would allow them to remove it, because I mean, without eggs, life is very, very difficult for them. But it's only when we know that these eggs are unfertilized. So when you buy all of this cage-free chicken and this organic stuff, that's not good. So a few times we bought this from BJ's, this organic stuff. We had a big discount, and from 18 eggs or whatever, 18 eggs, we had to throw 6 or 7. It was like disaster. They're very expensive, and we have to throw. I mean, it shows that they're real. It's good stuff, but for us it's not good, basically. So, but it was many years ago. But then we switched only to regular eggs, like normal eggs. Only once in a blue moon you find something. I would recommend, so if to be careful and stick with one company or two companies. Right? Don't buy like eggs from different companies. So you start checking. So you properly to check every egg. But if you're busy and this and that, so if you you can rely on Chazakah that you were checking many eggs from this company, and everything was well. So, and they are cheaper kind unfertilized. So meaning it's not going to be any babies, any little chicks from these eggs. So you can rely on that there is no blood. But technically the proper is to check every egg. And again, so if in a white, if a blood spot is found in the white, we have some leniency. So in case of the need, we can rely on this leniency. If in yolk is the entire egg, it's not only the yolk is forbidden, the entire egg is forbidden. All right, and what else? Okay, so the custom is that as he's saying, you can throw out, but again, if somebody is not so not so well to do, so a person can keep it. Just remove the blood with a little white, and that's it. You can eat the egg. Continue. Therefore, when preparing the food with eggs, one should examine them to ensure that they are free of blood. Commentary. This remains the custom, even though nowadays the majority of the eggs are unfertilized. So, but even in these unfertilized eggs, I mean, how many times we found? I have to find my wife, of course, she does most of the cooking, but I did find maybe, I don't know, maybe few a year we do find. Right, so it is possible to find, but it's always. I never see, even when we found like in regular eggs, not these organic things, right? Not cage-free things, like regular simple egg. So it was always, absolutely always, whatever she found, I can double check with her, but whatever we found only was in a white. It was never in a yellow. Okay, which is good. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, quick question: is a Noahide or a boy allowed to eat those eggs?
Yes.
Some they're like, oh, it's just a little bit of blood. It's okay. It's not gonna hurt me.
Yes. So, okay. Thank you very much. So the question is if is Noahides is allowed to eat blood? Yeah, Noahides are allowed to eat blood. There is no problem whatsoever. So the only thing that Noahide must do, Noahides can eat any animal whatever they want. Maybe some things is discussed. That's a different story. But technically, Noahide is allowed to eat any animal. The only thing that he's not allowed or she's not allowed to eat from a living animal. So kill any way you want. Of course, we try and not to torture the animal, but whatever the shortest way to the less the painless way, right, to kill the animal, just do it and allowed to eat. So yeah, there is no prohibition eating blood whatsoever. So Noahides are not obligated to eat to check the eggs, but for Jews, since it is a special prohibition, and I'm not sure how many, maybe 5, 6, 7 times, I'm not sure how many times Torah said in Chumash explicitly, do not eat blood, be strong. So and this this drop of the blood is considered to be blood. But we're going to see when you go through the whole procedure of kosher meat, when you wash it properly, right? But then you salt it, so you put on a special tray, and they tilt it a little so the blood could flow out and stuff like that for a special specific amount of time, this and that, if you follow the whole procedure. And then even though you buy a piece of meat in a kosher supermarket, right, and you see there is a red stuff, right, on this tray, this styrofoam tray, you see some red stuff, so it's not blood. It is blood, but halachically it's not blood. So whatever, if person follow all of the procedure, whatever needs to be done, for at this point we don't do anything. We buy just from the store and we cook and that's it. But whatever, if this butcher, so they follow all of the steps, all of the procedure. So for us, it's absolutely kosher, even though you can find blood, for sure. It's impossible to remove all of the blood 100%, but halachically, it is blood clean, blood free. You understand? So, but this tiny little blood in an egg, it's considered halachically considered to be blood. But much more blood in the meat that was properly koshered, it's not considered to be blood. Understand? Any other questions before we continue? It was a good question. Okay, so let's continue. So therefore, when preparing the food with eggs, we said one should examine them and ensure that they're free of blood. Commentary. This remains the custom, even though nowadays the majority of eggs are unfertilized. if egg was mixed into butter, okay, we actually said that mixture. So we'll try to remove as much as possible. This is especially true nowadays when eggs are generally unfertilized. So after the fact, so we can rely on chazaka, so meaning also on a custom. So if you buy from the same company and year after year, and you check from time to time, so you're not obligated, technically you're not obligated to check any egg, every egg. So that's what we do in my family. That's where we check every egg, but technically it's not like such a big obligation. So if you check few of them, so if you, for example, you're going to cook 5, 6 of them, so you can check 3. That's enough, randomly. Because why? Because most likely it's there is nothing there. So number 2, the blood of fish is permitted. However, if one gathered it into vessel, it is prohibited for consumption due to the appearance of the wrongdoing. Okay. Therefore, if it is apparent that this is blood of fish, for example, there is a scales in it, then it is permitted even though it had been gathered in a vessel. So I'm not sure why would people would do it, but in a bigger fish. So if you ever scale the fish, you like clean, not scale, but clean the fish, all of the insides. So if in a bigger fish there is a lot of blood, there's a lot of blood, right, in this spine area. So of course, I mean, even though it's allowed, we like everybody in my family, so they make sure that we clean completely. So if we buy the whole fish, so and we clean ourselves, right? So you're allowed to buy the fish from non-kosher supermarket or from market, right? Sometimes we have these boats coming like with a fresh fish, so you can buy from the boat, right? It's complete. It's with scales, with all of this insides, right? You can buy, so they give you a good price. It's very, very fresh, right? And you can clean it yourself. So sometimes there is a blood, or always blood in a bigger fish, so you clean it. But some people, looks like based on this, some people would want to drink this blood. Is it prohibited? No. But if you put it in a vessel, right? So how do other people know that it's not cow's blood or pig's blood, that is fish blood? So they say maybe you put some scales in that. I'm not sure how is a good idea. Maybe like if you put fish next to it, like fish bones. So it would be maybe like more apparent that you're drinking fish blood. I'm not sure why person would do it, but it's not, technically it's not forbidden. But fish do have blood. Not a lot, but they do. Commentary. Since the observer might think that this is animal blood, its consumption is prohibited. It should. So this this halacha is known as marisayin, right? Marisayin, that some people would look at you and they suspect that you're doing something wrong. That's the issue. Even though you're not doing something wrong, and we just said halacha is you're allowed to drink this fish blood. But I know that the kids, they're not going to eat. If my wife sees this blood, she's not going to eat. So I always make sure when I clean the fish that it's like with a bounty, with a paper towel, like make sure there is no blood, like cut like extra thing, so there is no blood whatsoever. And clean it and wash it. Okay. So it's very but other people would suspect that the people doing something wrong, even though you're not doing something wrong, even though you have explanation for what they're doing. But many people not going to ask you any question. They're going to draw a conclusion that you're doing something wrong. That's the issue. Continue. It should be noted that whenever the sages imposes restriction in order to avoid perception of violation, so that's marisayin, The restriction applies even when nobody else is present. Very interesting. So it's from Talmud Beit. So it's not like when somebody is seeing me when I'm doing things outside, when I sit on my porch and eat my fish and drink blood of the fish. So I have to be I have to be careful. But inside of my house, I can do whatever I want. No, outside you said doesn't matter where you are. So I have to be abide by these rules. Thus, the consumption of the gathered fish blood is prohibited even in absolute privacy. So unless we have scales and this and that, but I'm not sure why people would do that. So it's as for me, it's disgusting. Okay, continue. Therefore, one second. So, but if he adds scales, there is no problem. Continue. Halacha number 3. If one bit into loaf of bread or the like, and blood came out of his teeth into the loaf, he must cut off bloody part of the loaf and discard it. For people might think that it's animal blood. That's commentary. So it's very interesting. So the situation is somebody has a problem with their gums and they bleed a lot, right? So the person bit let's say white bread, and on this white bread he has a blood stain. So of course it came from his teeth or from his gums, right? But people onlookers, they do not know that he has gum problems, right? So they would think maybe he has some blood in a vessel, right? And he dips the piece of bread in this blood, and now he's going to eat it. So the proper the procedure is just to cut off and throw out the bread. Once it's in your mouth, if you don't take it out, so if you put a piece of bread in your mouth, and even though you have these bleedy gums, there is no problem because it's not visible. It's inside of your mouth, right? So that's it's very important. And plus, we as we learn in our Hilchot Diot in our Rambam series, so we said that how Rambam said that the person must put in his mouth only small pieces of food that he can chew, that they have to do not have to bite off and put it back on the plate. Don't do that. So in this case, even though you have bloody gums, nobody would ever find out. Continue. As for the blood emanated from the gums that is still between one's teeth, on a weekday one may suck and swallow it, since it has not exited the body. But one may not do so on Shabbos, as will be explained in the Sefer 8054. So we're going to get to it. 8054. I think it's not even in this book. No, it's not. Okay. So let's try to understand. So first, he said if blood is emanated from one gums, so he's not eating, right? And still between one's teeth. On a weekday, one must suck and swallow it, since it has not exited the body. So what is the difference? Let's see. Since the blood is not visible, it cannot be seen even when the people, when someone else is present. Right? This case does not lend itself to appearance of wrongdoing, unlike the case in Halacha number 3. Rashi to Ksuba 68, Maharsha and other rabbis. Okay. So what does it mean here? Right? So what does it mean? So technically, we have a lot of blood in our body, right? So if it's in our blood in our body, there is no problem whatsoever. Of course, so the problem only when it comes out. So and between the teeth, so if a person swallows, there is no problem. So the only problem is on Shabbos. So we're going to see what is the problem on Shabbos. But one may not do so on Shabbos, as it will be explained below. So let's see. Sucking blood from a wound on Shabbos is considered choivel, wounding. Okay. See, Magit Avraham Mishnah Brura. So it's very interesting. So one of the prohibition on Shabbos is we cannot do shkita, we cannot kill, right? We cannot kill, we cannot draw blood. So all this are related to killing, right? So and when person sucks the blood from the wound of Shabbos, it's like he makes this wound. So basically, we're not allowed to hurt ourselves on Shabbos. Don't do like I don't know. So the famous question if you're allowed to pump a pimple, right, on Shabbos. So it says clearly if you know that if you do it and it's going to produce blood, right, so you're not allowed. You're not allowed to draw blood. So that's the issue with swallowing, with sucking this blood from the gums on Shabbos. Okay. Any questions on what we said so far? Okay, no problem. So continue. Halacha number 4. Sometimes blood is found in milk. Because the bloods emerge from animals, from animals along with milk. In this situation, one must inquire in halachic authority regarding the status of the milk. Okay, so just general information. What is how is it blood could be in the milk? So milk is actually blood, right? So body produces blood, and this blood is turned into the milk. That's how it works for humans or for animals, right? So it could be that the blood is found in the milk. Today is I'm not sure. So even if it was a blood in the milk, the concentration of this blood, like a ratio of this blood to the milk is so minute, so it was for sure it was nullified, right? So continue. So today, okay, I guess we have to say, so today we don't check milk for blood in it. So I mean, today we are much safer with that. Continue. Number 5. Another category of prohibited food is that the meat and dairy mixture. Okay. With respect to the mixture of meat and milk, it is prohibited to eat, cook, and derive benefit from it. Okay. So commentators say each of these acts are prohibited independently. So it says in Torah, when I say Torah, I mean Chumash, right? It says 3 times, do not eat milk, goat in its mother's milk, right? There are different translations, but that's like simple translation. And it says 3 times, so how say you say, why is it said 3 times? You got it from the first time, do not eat it, do not eat. Why, right? And Rashi on the page explains that we cannot eat, cook, even for other people. So, for example, a Jew cannot be a chef in a non-kosher restaurant, right? He said, yeah, I'm going to cook all of this this milk and meat together. This I think Italians like this stuff, like French also they like meat with cheese, stuff like that, right? So there are many dishes like that. That's why it's not so simple to make make this cuisine kosher. Much simpler. The simpler cuisine is a Chinese, right? It's so simple. You just remove like shrimps, non-kosher fish, and pig, and that's it. Other things are kosher. They usually don't eat, don't mix milk and meat together. I mean, as far as I know, maybe there are some exception, but it's not like not as popular as for Italians and French and other Europeans. Okay. So 1 second. Okay, so we're not allowed to eat, cook. So we're not allowed to work in these non-kosher restaurants, cook. Even though if I'm not going to eat, and nor you're allowed to derive benefits. So you cannot be a partner in McDonald's, for example. Your non-Jewish neighbor comes to you and says, "Look, I wanna invest in this McDonald's. Okay, I have a good manager, or my brother-in-law. I'm going to manage. So if you want to invest with us, so you're going to have some portion. You don't have to come to there. You don't have just come for sign papers. Maybe on some once a year, come for a meeting." So it's not allowed because you're not allowed to derive benefit. So even though they're going to sell to non-Jews, who there is no problem for a non-Jew to eat milk and meat together. Cheeseburger, okay, let them eat. There is no problem, right? For them to eat, but it is problem for me to benefit from this mixture. Okay, number 8 commentary. Each of these acts are prohibited independently. Okay, it says in Yorek Deya 87:1. Continue. However, the prohibition regarding benefit does not apply in all cases. Okay, so what does it mean? Let's see the commentary. When the milk and meat mixture is prohibited, biblically, when the meat of the animal was cooked with the milk, with milk or milk product, then it is prohibited even for benefit. When the prohibition of the mixture is rabbinic in origin, for example, the poultry is cooked with milk, or when meat and milk are mixed but not cooked together, then the prohibition is only for consumption but permitted to benefit. So it's very interesting commentary, and we need to explain it because it's very, very important. So there are different levels of prohibition of meat and milk mixtures. So one level of prohibition is biblical. So biblical is exactly as the Torah said, cooking. Cooking meaning when the temperature of one of them at least would be yad seledas bo. Yad seledas bo means when your hand recoils. So for example, they have a piece of what is it? This burger, right? And which is very hot. They take it from the grill and put piece of cheese. So this burger is going to melt the cheese. In some sense, it's going to cook because it's so hot. So it's going to cook this piece of cheese. So it's for sure it is biblical, but it's only if it's animal meat. So if it's a chicken or fowl meat, it's a different story. So that's already rabbinical. So chicken with cheese, it's only it's not. I don't want to say only rabbinical, but it's not as strict as meat and cheese, let's say, right? And also, what else is rabbinical when it's not cooked? For example, you have a cold cut. So you have a salami, piece of kosher salami, and on top of that you have a piece of cheese. So they will not eat they will not cook together. Well, separate, and they now. They're not cooking each other because they're cold, right? So in this case, the prohibition, since there is no cooking, so here the prohibition is only to consumption right? But right for consumption, but permitted to benefit. Okay, because it's not what the Torah says, but okay, still, so if somebody. Even technically, it is allowed to derive benefit, but still we don't do it. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, can continue. Therefore, if something became prohibited on account of the mixture of meat and milk, for example, meat and milk mixture fell into another cooked dish, rendering that food prohibited, one must inquire of halachic authorities what to do with it. For sometimes it becomes prohibited, even for benefit, and sometimes it would be it does not become prohibited to benefit by only for consumption. So we would need to see whether it's hot or cold, right? And what is the ratio? the usual nullification for in these cases is 1 to 60. So okay, so if forbidden food is one part, and 60 parts of 60 units, right, of the permitted foods, so they're going to neutralize the taste, and it is permitted to eat it, right? And plus, if it was cold, it's also like a big discount. Maybe you are not allowed to eat, but you can derive benefit. So you have a non-Jewish neighbor, so you can give to non-Jewish neighbor. So for him, it's going to be like a very good dish. So in some cases, so let me check time 1 second. Okay, so perfect time, so we can stop here. Let me know if any questions on this subject or any topic. Go ahead.
I think there is one on the app.
Please go ahead.
There's a question about the Genom movie. Is Kafakela a worse place than Genom?
Yes. Actually, if you, okay, so that's
3 questions altogether. I'll just read them one by one.
Okay. So let me answer this question first. Thank you. So first of all, if you want to know more about it, there is you just type on Rabbi Reuven Shlita's channel on our channel, BeEzrat HaShem channel, and search for Kafakela. I think he did it like a few years ago with all of the details what's going on in Kafakela. So Kafakela is actually the step before Genom. So in order to get to Genom, you have to be worthy. I'm talking about in general. I'm not talking about anybody specific here, especially all of the people in this group, right? So for some big sins, soul must go through a lot of suffering before getting to Genom. And I was actually, believe it or not, I was explaining somebody. So somebody is helping us to do subtitles on this Genom movie, and the person said that this was it? What was the things are real, like all of the dibukim and stuff like that. So I was also a little surprised, because that's a known thing about dibukim, how they escape from Kafakela. They do not escape from Genom. So the souls escape from Kafakela, and then they try to hide, and they try to hide in the souls in the body of the living people. Right, that's right, and then people talk to themselves, and sometimes this person inside can rape the person, the actually living person. That's crazy thing. Is it worse than not? I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. But people who are in Kafakela, they would be happy to get to Genom. That's for sure. So because why? Because some of them after Genom, whatever sentence is, whatever, how long, doesn't matter how long the sentence is, many of them are going to go to Gan Eden and get the reward if they're worse, if they did not do one of the biggest sins for which there is no there's no Gan Eden. They have to stay on the 7th level forever in Genom. So that's the thing. But if they only need to go through such a certain amount of suffering, of course they want to go to Genom, get the suffering, get over with whatever for year, 2 years, and 10 years, or 1,000,000 years, and go to the good place for sure. So it's what is better, I don't know. But right, I don't know. It's a good question. One is bad and one is worse, I guess. Okay, go ahead. What is the next question?
I heard in the movie that some get reincarnated into trees. What happens when they get cut down and used to build houses?
Okay, so that's yeah. So so people can reincarnate as like the highest level of reincarnation is to be a reincarnator is another human being. So because why? Because you have a free choice and you can fix whatever you did not do in a previous life. You have some chance to achieve this tikkun, the fixing, right? But if person is was reincarnated as a tree, so I mean that's only so much a tree can do. So if it's of course the soul is in there and the soul is suffering. So for example, some people very happy. They say that this dog looks like a person and it has a person's neshama. And I'm not sure. Sometimes they mean it for sure, but it is true. So it's like as a big punishment. This holy soul that a part of God would go to this filthy dog. Yeah, that's a big punishment. It's and even lower level is if it's going to go with inanimate objects like rocks and trees. So if a tree is cut and being used for a house as a piece of house, I think it's some kind of reward for the tree. So it's not useless. I think so. It's good in some sense. But can it achieve the fulfillment, the tikkun? I don't think so. That's the thing. So it's of course it's punishment. So you could have done whenever you were in a human body and you could do, and people ask you, they send you movies and they send you links and they talk to you and they spend time and time and time and time, and you put everything in garbage and you decided to live like an animal. So okay, so now you wanted to live in an animal. Okay, be an animal, be a piece of tree. Guess what? You didn't want to fulfill your obligation of your holy soul, right? Maybe tree is good for you. Okay. So what else, please?
I also heard that some also get reincarnated into screaming rocks. What do we do if we find one?
Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. There are rocks that scream, and the rocks actually they that move. So if you have nothing else to do, so you can see there are many videos in a desert. So they would put cameras and leave, right? So sometimes that's how they film the animals. Of course, no, the guy is not going to stand there for 10 years, right? So they put a camera, like very strong battery, that is going to run for a year, a few months. I don't know how long it's going to run. And it's going to record, and they when they come back, so they see that these rocks actually move, and there are sounds. So is sound from rock? Yes, it could be from a rock. So the soul is there, the human soul is there. So I mean, this movie it has to. So somebody told me it's so scary. This I mean, scary is good, but when you watch the movie, you have to draw the right conclusions, right? So sometimes person thinks, sure, should I go to this place? Should I not go to the place? So just think, if you go to this place, it's going to prolong your time in the kafakela, because people there is not modest. They're going to talk lashon hara, and guess what? You're going to believe this lashon hara, and this and that, and one thing is going to lead to another. Some women not dressed properly, and if a woman, if she's so stupid, she's going to bring her husband there, and her husband is going to look at other women. So okay, so bye husband. You understand? So he's going to compare other women to her. So that movie is like as a reminder for us. There is accounting. It's not for free. Whatever we do, even though it is called free choice, it's not free. We have to pay. We have to pay for each of our own choices. And it's better to know what are the options, what are the payments, how much. Okay, so the people say, okay, if you want to park your car here, you have to pay. Okay, how much you have to pay? They tell you the price. Okay, for this price, of course, I'm going to pay. I don't want to go like 2 miles walking. Of course, I'm going to pay. Whatever you say, it's worth it for me to pay. Right? Okay, go ahead. What else?
I think that was the last one.
Okay, last one. Okay, no problem. Very good. Thank you very much.
I had one more question about lighting the Hanukkah lights. If I'm doing it right, it's from right to left, correct?
No, we do it. Okay. So do we have Hanukkah? So we actually okay. We add from the left. So he's my right. So okay, we see it maybe different. So he's my right. So I have 1, 2, 3, 3 candles, right? So today I added the third candle, right? Let's say fourth candle, well, whatever candle. So I always start lighting from a new candle, new first, and then whatever was yesterday, and day before yesterday, day before yesterday. That's how we light the Hanukkah candles. So first we light shamash, this extra like helper candle that stands like higher, so to show it's different candle, or it's higher on or separate on, not on the same line. Whatever your menorah is. First of all of the lights must be on the same line. Must be, right? Otherwise, it's not kosher menorah. Right, and so first you light shamash, and then you light from left to right. Left meaning what? New candle that you added today, and whatever yesterday and the last is that was added that was there in the first day. Clear? Understand?
So you start with the one for today and then go backwards?
Yes, correct. Yes. So today is a special mitzvah, because So according to some opinions, like if you don't have candles, like people poor, there are many poor people, right? So it's enough to light even one candle. Okay, so one candle is a new candle, right? Okay, any other questions? Okay, no problem. So I just want to remind you, don't forget when you pray Shmona Esrei, don't forget to put to add these pieces for Hanukkah. But even if you forgot, you're not obligated to go back. So try to remember and add it, but after the fact, you're not allowed to go back. No, not allowed. Yeah, don't go back, basically. Okay, so thank you very much, then, and until tomorrow, BeEzrat HaShem. Good night.